There's been a great debate on that since Chinese civilization is as ancient as Greece and Rome, but nobody ever knew where Chinese people came from. They wanted to know how the Chinese race originated, but no data existed. But now, a study of the Chinese genomes has revealed striking evidence about China's roots in Black Africa. But what does that really mean? What more evidence proves China's roots in Africa? We dive deep into this hidden history, exploring genetic data, archaeological discoveries, and historical records to uncover how Africa shaped one of the world's most remarkable civilizations. Before we go further, imagine tracing your family tree back tens of thousands of years so far back that it leads not just to another country, but to another continent entirely. That's exactly what geneticists have done with the Chinese population. The first piece of evidence comes from genetics, the science that revolutionized how we understand human ancestry. Before DNA testing, determining biological relationships was almost impossible. Whether establishing parentage or tracing distant relatives, the tools simply didn't exist. But once DNA analysis became possible, scientists could examine unique patterns in our genes and compare them across populations. In 1998, the Chinese Human Genome Diversity Project, conducted by the National Academy of Sciences, analyzed the DNA of Chinese populations to identify their genetic diversity and potential ancestral links. The results were eye-opening. Approximately 20% of Chinese people carry genetic markers similar to those found in Black African populations. These markers are not minor anomalies. They indicate a substantial ancestral connection that has persisted for tens of thousands of years. This genetic evidence suggests that early Chinese populations may have evolved from African ancestors, carrying certain genes that survived even as populations migrated, mixed, and adapted to new environments. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is the durability of these genes over millennia. Typically, when populations intermix over generations, some genetic traits diminish or disappear entirely. Yet, in China, these African-linked genes have endured, hinting that they might have offered evolutionary advantages or simply persisted due to their prevalence in early populations. The takeaway is clear. The story of human migration is far more intricate than traditional history books suggest, and Africa's role in shaping global civilizations cannot be underestimated. While genetics gives us a biological connection, archaeology provides physical proof of Africa's influence on ancient China. When we think of monumental architecture, Egypt naturally comes to mind. The pyramids of Giza remain among humanity's most impressive engineering feats, showcasing advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and construction. But did you know that pyramids are not exclusive to Africa? Around the world, from Sudan to Mexico, and surprisingly, even in China, ancient pyramids have been discovered, indicating that monumental building techniques traveled with early humans. In China, near the city of Xi'an, archaeologists have documented approximately 100 pyramid-like structures, including the mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, who is famously associated with the Terracotta Army. These pyramids date back to the late 3rd century BC, coinciding with the era when Egypt was completing some of its most famous pyramids. Some critics claim that the Xi'an pyramids are natural hills formed by erosion. Yet careful examination reveals deliberate construction, terracing, stone foundations, and alignment consistent with human design. The similarities between African and Chinese pyramids are striking. Both served as monumental tombs, both reflected centralized political power, and both demonstrated advanced engineering skills. Could it be that early African migrants brought their construction knowledge to East Asia? This evidence suggests that Africans were not just distant influencers, they were active participants in shaping the physical and cultural landscape of early China. These early settlers were builders, innovators, and leaders, leaving behind a legacy visible even today. The methods used to construct these pyramids required meticulous planning, mathematical precision, and an understanding of logistics. Moving massive stone blocks, creating terraces, and aligning structures with celestial bodies were not feats achievable without advanced knowledge. The architectural parallels between Giza and Xi'an challenge conventional ideas of isolated civilizations. hinting at shared technological knowledge and possibly direct African influence in early Chinese society. Genetics and archaeology are just part of the story. When we examine historical records and dynastic chronicles, further evidence emerges that supports African influence in ancient China. Early dynasties, including the Xi, Shang, and Zhou, laid the foundation for governance, social organization, and cultural development in China. But who were the people behind these dynasties? Texts, legends, and folklore indicate that some rulers exhibited African or Afro-Asian features. For instance, the legendary first emperor, Fuxi, is described as having woolly hair and dark skin. Ancient Chinese texts also refer to Naki, meaning black man, which suggests that early Chinese rulers and their populations were aware of African ancestry. The Shang dynasty, in particular, is credited with formalizing early Chinese governance and culture. Its rulers, who may have had African roots, contributed to technology, social organization, and cultural traditions that shaped the foundation of Chinese civilization. So, who were the ancestors of the Chinese? Genetic studies show that 20% of modern Chinese carry African-linked markers. Archaeological evidence, including the Xi'an pyramids, reveals shared architectural knowledge. Historical records describe black emperors, kingdoms, and influential populations. Cultural practices, such as martial arts, also reflect African influence. This evidence makes it clear that Africans were not invaders or outsiders in China. They were integral contributors, shaping civilization from within. Humanity's shared origins remind us that African heritage is central to the story of human civilization, influencing not only genetics, but also culture, innovation, and governance. Thank you for joining us on this journey through hidden history. At Black Culture Diary, we continue to explore untold stories, lost civilizations, and the enduring impact of Africa on human history. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover more truths about the world and our shared past.